The Cross and the Ages to Come by G. Campbell Morgan. Through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on the earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood, shed on the cross. Colossians 1:20. The subject of the letter to the church in Colossae is preeminently that of the glories of Christ in his relationship to his church. Paul writes, "For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him." And concerning the church he writes, that we have been given fullness in Christ. Colossians is one of the most remarkable declarations of the New Testament concerning the greatness of the person of Christ and the greatness of his work. The greatness of his person is set forth first in his relation to God in the words, "the image of the invisible God," secondly in his relation to creation in the words, "the firstborn over all creation," and thirdly in his relation to his church in the words, "he is the head of the body." The teaching concerning the greatness of his work is inseparably connected with the greatness of his person. In regard to his work as revealer of God, for God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him. In regard to his work with relation to that creation, his mission is expressed in the words, "to reconcile to himself all things." Finally, his work concerning the church, of which he is the head, is expressed in the declaration, "Once you were alienated from God and were enemies in your minds because of your evil behavior. But now he has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through death." The greatness of Christ's person in relation to God is that he is the image of the invisible God, and the greatness of his work in relation to God is seen in the fact that God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him. The greatness of his person in relation to creation is that he is the firstborn over all creation, and the greatness of his work in relation to that creation is expressed in the words, "to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven." The greatness of his person in relation to the church is that he is the head of the body, and the greatness of his work in relation to the church is that of the reconciliation of individuals in order that they may be built into the church. The fullness of the person creates the fullness of the work. The special message is that God does reconcile, not merely individuals, but all things, whether things on the earth or things in heaven, through Christ, the image of God, the firstborn of creation, the head of the church, by the blood of his cross. This is the meaning of the cross. The sphere of reconciliation is first that of the things on earth. But what may well startle us is the phrase which follows it, "things in heaven." These are all in some way included in the reconciliation which Christ wrought by his cross. Mankind is seen at the center, and below us are all the created things of the earth. Beyond us are the far-reaching realms which we are utterly incapable of understanding during the period of our earth life. At the center of everything, Paul sees the cross and declares that by that cross, God reconciles all things to himself. Let us remember the words of the psalmist, "Mercy and truth are met together, righteousness and peace have kissed each other. They all exist in the nature of God. Mercy and truth, righteousness and peace." Mercy, which does not mean the pity that excuses, but the tenderness that bends over in love. Truth, which is integrity and uprightness, that which is stable and builds. Righteousness, which is a straight line without deviation. Peace, which is absolute safety. All these coexist in the nature of God. God was in Christ. By suffering wrought out into human history, and in the sight of all the ages through the cross, God has gathered the whole into his own heart, and suffered to reconcile all things unto himself. Thus, as Christ is the center, the source and goal of the universe, his cross is the center, the source and goal of reconciliation. The Ephesian letter is the complement of the Colossian. In that, the apostle teaches that through the church the wisdom of God is to be manifested to principalities and powers in the heavenly places. Christ and his ransomed people are to exercise a ministry beyond that of today, which is initial and preparatory through all the coming ages. That ministry is to be that of an unveiling of the profoundest thing in the heart of God, the love which, operating through self-abandonment and sacrifice, ransomed, redeemed, and remade lost humanity. Thus, for all the universe and for the ages proceeding in beauty from the being of God, the cross will abide as the supreme revelation of God, through which all creation will come to an understanding of his holiness and his love, the deepest and truest things of his being. If by that cross all things in the heavens are to be reconciled and infinite peace is to follow, I dare trust it, notwithstanding all my sin and all my weakness. By the way of that cross I am reconciled to God, and through it I find rest, infinite, eternal, undying. At last my rest shall be rest with the whole creation, for the cosmic order will be restored through the mystery of God's suffering as revealed in the cross.